Hey guys, Sunny here, and Apple is releasing 3 new phones ranging from expensive to expensive. The latest edition is the iPhone XS model, which is literally the iPhone X with the new A12 Bionic Chip. There's really not too much of a difference on paper. I mean, the overall design of the phone resembles the iPhone X model to a T. It's got the same notch design and everything that everyone seemed to hate, but now hate less, I guess. There are some minor improvements going forth with the iPhone XS, and of course the addition of the gold colorway, which seems to be everyone's go-to when introducing a new phone that doesn't offer a tremendous upgrade from the last. But I'll be frank, the gold colorway does look really sick in my opinion, but is it really worth shelling out another gram? I would argue to say that the biggest advantage to the iPhone XS over last year's iPhone X is indefinitely the A12 Bionic Chip. The performance and efficiency of the A12 is a step up compared to the A11. Makes sense, it's the next number up, but the result is 1.5 times more battery usage and a 50% graphical performance boost, which is a noticeable difference. So supposedly things like Face ID will be better, faster, and more secure than before, and of course there's more computational power, so things like everyday tasks will be more smooth and responsive. What seems to be no surprise to everyone is that there is no Touch ID. I've explained in a previous video about Face ID and how it can be pretty useful in many situations, but it does take an extra second to specifically unlock your phone than say Touch ID, so bear that in mind. Part of the reason why I went with the iPhone X was because at the time the iPhone X was the better choice for video, and my work played a big factor, but that's besides the point. Now it looks like Apple is focusing on photography this year, so things like the software on the built-in camera app and the pixel pitch on the rear-facing camera have been improved. See, that was kind of the huge reason why the Pixel 2 was the better choice for photography at the time, scoring 1 overall point above the iPhone X in DxOMark. The software was just better and the end result was gorgeous for a mobile device. Of course, the screen bunked out, so that kind of defeated the purpose. But comparing the iPhone XS to the iPhone X, it really doesn't look like anything has changed on paper. But because of the A12 chip, there are some new features, most notably the ability to change focal length after the fact that the photo's been taken in portrait mode. Sounds a lot like some features I know from last year. But there's also Smart HDR, which affects how the image is rendered by stitching multiple images together to draw more highlight and shadow detail, and things of that nature. Really, those are things that can be added in an update. Might not be completely optimized, but if that does come to the iPhone X in an iOS 12 update, that would be really awesome. I haven't seen it at all during the beta, so I'm crossing my fingers for when it officially releases on the 17th. Moving on to the iPhone XS Max, what you're really getting here is just a bigger screen. So if you want the option, you can go for that. I do know that some people found the iPhone X to be a little too small for their hands. Other people like me found it to be the right size, but some of them preferred to have more screen real estate. I don't really think they understand compromise. But my biggest concern here is the price. These are some really expensive phones starting at $1,000 for 64 gigabytes of storage. That's the base model. 500 gigabytes of storage, especially on a device that most people rotate so often, is excessive in my opinion. Like, what are you going to use that much storage for? Just buy an external storage device. That's going to last you several generations of phones and have more use just in general. I don't see the point in having that much storage when there are so many services that allow you to store your stuff on the cloud as well. And with the XS Max, you're paying an additional $100 from the XS just for the bigger size. There is practically nothing else that sets the Max apart from the XS. That leaves the last of the new iPhones, the iPhone XR. I guess the naming does make a bit of sense. R comes before S, so it's like the lesser version to S. So the R is to the S as the iPhone X is to XS? I don't know, I tried. The iPhone XR, I'm just gonna pronounce it like that just because it rolls off the tongue a little better, is essentially the same hardware specs as the XS and the XS Max. It just lacks the dual rear-facing camera, so you don't have the telephoto lens, and you don't have the OLED display. It's sort of interesting that the screen for the XR is not in full HD. I guess that's okay, because we can only watch videos in 360p, am I right? Can't even enjoy 4K, let alone 1080p. The XR is also IP67 as opposed to being IP68, but otherwise it's pretty competitive. For a flagship device at a price point of $750 and the additional colorways, I really think that the XR is the better choice if having an LCD display doesn't bother you, because you're really not missing out on too much. But let me know what you think of the latest iPhone Xs and whether you'll be picking up a pair, because that's gonna do it for the day. I'm Sunny, that's my word, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.